I'm Annika Hjelmstad, and today I'm going to talk to you about how we can better tell whether your street specifically is going to flood or not. So I study flooding in the desert, which seems like kind of an oxymoron, but during monsoon season, there are these really short, intense storms in Phoenix that cause flash floods. And one minute it is sunny, and the next minute the street is flooded. And so our infrastructure can't always handle it, and the kinds of storms are just hard to prepare for. And in extreme cases, they're very hard to prepare for, like this record-breaking storm from 2014 shown on the right that just absolutely flooded streets and highways and caused huge damages around the city. And so right now we sort of deal with bad weather in a couple of different ways. And so we, of course, want to forecast it. So, you want to be able to check your phone in the morning and know whether it's a 60% chance of rain or 10% or 90%. And we want to make sure that we're always measuring how much it's actually raining or snowing or hailing. And then we want the people that are doing that forecasting and that measuring to let us know when we need to know something, right? And so the National Weather Service sends out these emergency alerts that you get on your phone and is responsible for a lot of that forecasting work too. And so those systems are already in place and they're already quite good, but we can do a little bit better. And so the idea is that every time you get an alert, it's exactly the information you need when you need it, right? And so it's never something you don't need, and you're never stuck in a situation where you wish you had more information about the weather or what you need to do to prepare for a bad weather event. And so part of that is improving data on the ground, right? And so if we know exactly where buildings are and where streets are and all that stuff, then we know exactly where water is going to flow when it falls. But then the other side of that is knowing, how much rain is falling in the first place and improving our rainfall data. And so improving the rainfall data is probably the harder part of that. And so we have weather radars that indirectly measure rainfall by sending out a pulse, and then it'll hit a raindrop or a piece of hail or a piece of dust. And then based on the pulse that's sent back, we can tell how much it's raining or hailing, or if it's a dust storm. And so it's a really great way to be able to measure rainfall. We don't have to have install a new rain gauge every couple of feet, but it is prone to error. And so we measure rainfall, but it's not always going to be perfect. And we want to know how far off we are, right? And so what we can do before we get perfectly accurate rainfall data is we can look at all the rainfall data we've collected in the past, and we can look at, okay, maybe there's been quite a bit of variation overall, but mostly when it rains 4 inches, our radars are telling us something between 3.5 and 4.5 inches. Like that's useful information. We want to know if that's the case, or if it's like anything between 1 and 8 inches. That makes a big difference for how well we can prepare for rain events, and importantly, how well we can predict flooding. And so we can use that uncertainty that we derive from all that rainfall data and use that in our flood models to see how much that uncertainty from the rainfall data shows up in our flood models. And so in a perfect world, either we would have perfect rainfall data or our flood models would be completely insensitive to that wide range of rainfall data. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And we need to know, if we're off by a factor of 2 with our rainfall data, how does that affect our flood model? And so then hopefully we can use that information, so both better data and better understanding of the uncertainty associated with that data, to improve local flood information and get you really relevant texts and forecasts about weather events that you need to know about, hopefully even to the point that you know exactly when you shouldn't go out on your driveway because there's going to be 2 inches of flooding, right? So that is what we are hoping to do with that.